Hi everyone, my name is James Dahl. I'm from the Vice Care Committee. I'm delighted to introduce our next two presenters. First up, we have Alice Griffin. Alice is going to talk about her work with DESR and about accessibility and inclusion. Now, how they support people to be involved in their community. Then we have Sandy Brain from Care AT Department. Sandy is going to talk about assistive technology and how it helps people to be more independent. Now I'm going to do.
Thanks a million, Seamus. Okay. Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me? Okay, so my name is Alice and I am delighted to be here today, and I want to say a big thanks to Voice for Care for inviting me along. I'm going to talk about the importance of accessibility for inclusion, and I have, and please forgive me, about 20 slides that I'm going to talk through. I want to say a big thanks to the Planning Committee for helping me put these slides together. So bear with me now, I'm not technologically savvy. So I'd like to start by introducing myself and the work that I do. Alice Griffin is my name, and I'm from the lovely county of Laois, and that's the county that Kildare keeps beating in the football. I know we've been talking about rugby and soccer, but actually football is important. I don't think we're ever going to get to Croke Park because of the Lily Whites, so anyway, we'll see. So I'm from Portlaoise and I've lived there for most of my life. I work with an organisation called DESA, and DESA stands for the Disability Equality Specialist Support Agency. And our job is to support the active and the full participation of people within their local communities. We work across Ireland. We're a community organisation and we work across disability. And what that means is we work with people who have physical conditions or sensory conditions. We work with people who are autistic, people who experience mental distress, and people with intellectual disabilities. And really, we work with anyone who wants to work with us. All right? Okay. I've been with DESA a very long time, close to 23 years now, and I've been working here in Kildare with local access groups for the past 4 years, and that's where I met some members of CARE. So what do we actually do? Our work. Okay, we work to make sure that people are supported to be involved in their local communities. And we do this by working with local groups, helping them to understand the things that stop people getting involved and helping them to make things better. So these are two photographs which show some of the work that we've done in the past. The first photo shows children playing. In, I think it was 2011, that long ago, we made a document called Play for All. This was about making sure that playgrounds can be used by all children. And the law says that all public playgrounds in Ireland must be open and accessible to all children, no matter who they are and what their needs are. And I'm really happy to hear there's a fabulous new playground being opened, I think this week in Leixlip, a fully accessible and inclusive playground. So that's great to see. The second photograph shows a picture of a community centre. So here we made a document called Access Inside Out, which helps local community groups to identify and remove barriers, the things that stop people getting involved in their local communities or stop people being able to take part in activities in the community. And these include, and you know all of these, buildings not having ramps or lifts, for people who use wheelchairs or walkers or just find it hard to walk, buildings not having suitable bathroom facilities or clear signs telling people how they can get around a building. So this document, Access Inside Out, helps groups to understand and remove these barriers. So this is my work in DESA, supporting people to be involved, to be included in their local community. That includes supporting people not just to get support, but also to give support. For you to be able to volunteer, to give your time, your energy, and your expertise to making your community better. I know some of you are involved in local access groups, and I see we have Kildare Volunteer Centre here. So inclusion is also about that. It's not just you receiving support, but you giving support and contributing to your local community. Excuse me. George, where are you? Thank you. Thank you. It's always good to have a George close by. Okay, so my talk is about inclusion and accessibility. You can't have one without the other. Your community and everything in it must be accessible so that you can be fully included. And unfortunately, inclusion in a community, it doesn't just happen. We all have to work together to make it happen. And that's why meetings like today are so important. Bringing people together to think about how we move beyond barriers and make a barrier-free community that benefits everyone. So let's look at inclusion and what that means. So it means different things to different people. For me, it's about the right of people to choose the places that they wish to go, the services they wish to access. So it's very much about choice. It's about being welcomed. So having to overcome barriers every day, not just physical barriers, but maybe people's attitudes. You know, sometimes people are rude, you know. Having to overcome these every day doesn't make you feel welcomed. But inclusion is about that. It's about you feeling wanted and welcomed. It's about being valued and respected. You are a human being with human rights, just like everybody else. Inclusion is about having your communication needs recognised, respected, and met. Everyone is different. There are no two people in the world that have the exact same needs. Some people communicate using language, some people use sign language, some people are non-verbal. So an inclusive community is one that respects these differences and allows people to communicate in a way that they prefer to. Inclusion is about having positive relationships and the opportunity to meet and make new friends, maybe outside of your care community and outside of your family. Inclusion is about being listened to. Your voice and your experience matter. You know more than anyone else what are the issues in your community, what are the barriers, what are the things that are stopping you from taking part and being involved. Having access to information in ways that suits you is also important. Being involved means removing barriers. How can you be involved if you can't get into a building or if your communication needs aren't met? Choice is really important. You have the right to make choices about your own life. And finally, it's important to have the supports in order to be included. So depending on a person's need, that might mean having a personal assistant or advocacy support or a particular communication aid. So this is what inclusion means to me. The right of people to take part and be in settings, places of their choice alongside others. It's about your presence. It's about your active participation and achievement in those places. And I would like you to think, maybe over lunch, what does inclusion mean for you? I really like this picture. This was taken in 2007 when we ran a play workshop for a group of kids. And the message here is really, really important. We all have needs. Every person on the planet has needs. So we need to stop thinking about special needs for special people. We need to stop separating people on the basis of ability. It goes against inclusion. Inclusion is about meeting all needs in the same place, but in different ways. And you can let me know if you agree with that over lunch. So, what does inclusion look like? Well, communities that include community members, what I call good communities, have thought about, have identified, and have removed barriers to participation. Good communities give people the choice to live where they want to live, and that includes the choice to live in your own homes and not to live separately in hospitals or other institutions. Good communities let people connect with one another, provide spaces and chances for people to meet new people. So that's a few words about inclusion. Means making sure our spaces, local park, coffee shops, the post office, other buildings, and services, going to the cinema, the arts centre, your doctor, wherever else, can be used by everyone. So accessibility is about making it easier for someone to get something, to do something, and to use something. Think about how easy it is for you to use local services in your community. If people, no matter what their ability or their background, can use services and go where they want in the community, where they feel welcomed and valued, then that is inclusion. So good access, I'll run through this very quickly. Good access is about looking at the physical space, about communication access, and about digital access. And Sandy will be speaking later about the assistive technology, the digital access. So good physical access is about having ramps and lifts, clear and easily understood signs, accessible car spaces that are close to the building you want to go to, bathroom facilities that are accessible, and there's lots of other things. Communication access means that you can give and receive information in a way that's understood. And this includes information, as you know, better than I know, in easy read, using symbols and words rather than difficult language. Digital access is about people being able to use computers and laptops and the internet easily. Here are a few photographs of when access goes bad. And I'm sure for those of you who are wheelchair users in the audience, you have your own examples, and if you have any photographs, please pass them on. I'm always collecting photographs of bad design. But you can see here, common sense seems to have gone out the window. In particular, the middle photo at the top. Like, I wonder about the person who was laying the concrete around the tree. Did they not know they were building a ramp? So, bad access doesn't help anyone. Other examples of inaccessibility, as I've mentioned already, language that's not easy to understand. What else? No sign language interpretation. We have less than 200 qualified Irish Sign Language interpreters in Ireland. Websites that don't have screen readers, and the expert on everything technology will speak shortly. So I said earlier, you can't have inclusion without accessibility. If we are to live in truly accessible, inclusive communities that benefit everyone, then we have to identify and remove barriers, the thing that stops inclusion. In County Kildare, you have a network of local access groups. So the one that I always brings a smile to my face is Newbridge Access Group, NAG. So these groups are very important in checking what barriers are in local communities and in working with and nagging the County Council to remove them. These are really important groups, and I would encourage you, if you're not already involved, to get involved in them. I think the biggest barrier to inclusion is not the lack of ramps or the lack of physical access or lack of accessible bathroom facilities. I think it's actually attitudes. I think we have to challenge people who do not provide good access. I think we have to educate, and you have to educate and teach people about difference and about human rights. And there's a very important international agreement called the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. I hope you've heard of it. And this talks about your rights and equality. And I just want to end by saying a few words about this convention. So it's an international agreement that was made by the United Nations, and the United Nations is also known as the UN for short. And this is a big world organisation that works for peace around the world. Nearly all the world's countries are part of the UN, and they work together to make the world a better and a safer place. In 2006, they made a document called the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and it's sometimes called a convention. And a convention is simply another word for agreement. And this agreement sets out what countries, including Ireland, have to do to make sure that everyone with lived experience of disability have the same rights as everyone else. The UN have made many agreements like this, but this is the first time that people with lived experience were involved in developing this agreement. So, what does it say? Well, everyone should have equal opportunities and no one will be discriminated against. This means that countries agree that everyone is equal under the law and that discrimination against people will not be allowed. Discrimination just means you're being treated unfairly or not getting the changes you need because of your needs. It also says that people are to be respected for who they are, and people are free to make their own choices. So people have the same right to make their own decisions about important things as everyone else. And they should also have supports they need in order to make decisions. Everyone should have equal access. So countries should make sure that people have better access to things. There should be better access to public buildings, to hospitals, to schools. There should also be better access to information and new technology, and people who provide services should be trained in access. And finally, people have the same rights to be included as everyone else. There are a lot of other rights set out in this agreement: the right to education, the right to work, to be free from abuse. So if you're interested, I can give you some further information. Let me know at lunch. So I just want to finish very quickly by talking about how you can support your community to be inclusive. Remember, I said earlier, inclusion doesn't just happen. It actually takes work. We all have to work together to make our communities better places. It's everyone's business, really. So first of all, I'd like you to think about your own experience. Remember, you have really good knowledge. You know what it's like to encounter, to meet and face barriers and to overcome them. Many of you deal with them every day. So think about what your experience is. Secondly, I think it's important to get involved in advocacy and campaigns, speaking up and working to change things. And Voice for Care is a great advocacy group. You could also get involved in local access groups and think about becoming involved in national organisations. So there's one national organisation that I think is really interesting, and it's called the National Platform of Self-Advocates. Has anyone heard of it? Okay, yes, so it's run by people with intellectual disability, and they work with other groups and the government to promote inclusion. So again, I'd encourage those of you who aren't members to become a member. Educate others, all right? Tell people your story. Raise awareness of what you do here in care and talk about the barriers that you encounter. And finally, make sure you know your rights. Sometimes it's hard to know if you've been treated unfairly. So make sure you know what your rights are or where to go to check your rights. I don't think there are any guide dog or service dog users here, but I work a lot with the Irish Guide Dogs for the Blind. And more restaurants and bars are refusing access to people who use service dogs, and that is absolutely against the law. So it's important that you know your rights so you can challenge people when they are not behaving the way they should. So think about your experience, get organised, educate others, and know your rights. And most importantly, mind yourself. Moving beyond barriers is hard work, so make sure that you get support in your work. Thanks for listening.